Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back. I believe this is the last of the 7 universal microexpressions that Dr. Ekman discovered, that of contempt, disgust, sadness, happiness, fear, and now anger. As you can see here in the element card, it's the color for for face, and it even says so where it's going to be displayed. This one has a new key, and we'll get into that here in a moment. The variable factor is 1. Cultural prevalence, as I stated at the beginning, is universal, but among all cultures and men and women, boys and girls, because Dr. Ekman, when he was tasked to do this research, discovered it was one of the 7 universal microexpressions that were displayed. All right, let's proceed on here. So the DRS is 1, and if you're not remembering, DRS is the deception rating scale number, and DNL, deception not likely. I've popped the key in some of the videos, so feel free to screenshot that, snip and stitch, or clip, whatever your operating system tool is for taking a screenshot. Here's the first of the METT videos demonstrating
To
anger.
review, in anger expressions, the lips may be either open or closed. The eyebrows are always drawn
After
down
this
and
video,
together.
I'm going to
The
have
upper
the
eyelid
action
raise and
units
tightening of the
4,
lower
5,
eyelid creates
7,
the impression of a
10,
glare,
uh,
stronger on the
I
right
believe
than the
it's
left. In
17,
closed mouth
22,
anger, the
23,
lips are
and
tightened and
24
pressed,
for
while in the
anger.
open mouth they are open to speak or shout, but the tensing and narrowing of the lips is very apparent.
Okay, I feel it's important to include the action units so you get an idea as to which isolated muscles each are composed in recognizing this emotional display on the face. Let's look at the element card itself. We've got the broader connections. We have underneath the male and female universal is aggressive. Below that is the contradictory behavior is palm expand. So your palms aren't open in anger. They're most likely closed in a fist. As it stated, it's face, and we've already covered everything over to 7 o'clock. So the microphysiological is the pupil constriction. Your pupil, the black dot in the center of your eye, it's going to get tighter because you're focused on what it is that has angered you. And then we have amplifying gestures of jaw clench and wing dilation. Remember, wing dilation is the flaring of the nostrils. Jaw clench is you're tightening your jaw. And I've got a video that you might get a kick out of that demonstrates this. So that's amplifying gesture. Confirming gesture is the back of the neck. That's when you put your hand behind your neck because you're massaging it because you're getting tense. Digital flex. If you're not making a fist, you're pumping your hand open and closed, getting that blood circulation ready in case you want to hit. These are things to keep in mind. And of course, if you want to disengage from that emotion because it's an overreaction or you're, trying to de-escalate, you need to take a step back, take a breath, and not be doing these confirming and amplifying gestures. Because remember, what feels good in the moment to cater to that emotion may have long lasting repercussions. Anything from a damaged relationship to a damaged life in terms of both physiological damage of breaking bones or lifelong incarceration and or fines because of the damage you've done to somebody and or their property. If you find yourself getting into these anger states, recognize whether or not you can change the physiology of your face to take you out of that state, or if it's something that impacts your environment. As an example, I use a 3D printer, and in the course of printing, it will emanate fumes, and those fumes do that they make an impact, and it affects me, and I need to be able to step outside and get to clear my mind. Um, I had a print running yesterday that ran 15 hours. So I'm exposed to fumes for 15 hours while doing other projects at the same time. And I could feel myself becoming more and more irritable. So be aware of not just these physiological aspects, but of external factors, not just, oh, that dang neighbor's dog, pooping in my yard or barking, or oh, that motor running, rawr, rawr, no muffler. You know, what are the external factors that are going on? Is it something that you're exposed to? It could be a gas leak. Gene Hackman recently was in the news, and that was one of the things that they speculated as to the reason for the death. I don't know. I haven't looked at the crime scene information or the death scene information, and my investigative skills only touched upon death investigations. But going back into this anger, yeah, you can do a lot of factors to enter into in and out of these various emotional states, including anger. But do be aware there are external factors: alcohol, drugs, fume exposure, uh, cold, hunger. Hence the word hangry. Yeah, hunger and anger put together. All right, comparing the 3-second clip of William Shatner there as
The eyebrows are pulled
Captain
down and
Admiral
together
Kirk.
in both of these
Look at
angry
these expressions.
expressions.
How does that match up?
The upper eyelid
Uh,
is also raised in both, more on the left than
how
on
does
the
this
right,
match up with
although
the
they both
action
appear
units
to
at the beginning of
glare.
the video?
The lower eyelid is also tensed in both,
Keep this
but
stuff
the
in
biggest
mind,
difference
both
between
in
them is in the
recognizing
mouth.
it in
The
yourself,
lips
whether
are
you have a
pressed
picture
tightly on
and
the
or
right,
video of
but they're
yourself,
open
and
with
in
tense
interacting with
lips,
others.
probably
Again,
saying something quite unpleasant on the left.
my apology. I didn't mean to speak over this one and the discussed video. Keep in mind the reference that I made in an earlier video that Janine Driver, I believe her name was, the alcohol, tobacco, firearms expert who wrote one of the body language books, which stated that make recordings of yourself. And Ekman, when you read his book, Emotions Revealed, talks about the difficulty of learning how to isolate the various muscles to measure these action units. And I don't know if it's in that book or just in general, you'll find that when you're doing these emotions, you're going to feel that emotion to some degree, which is part of the reason I emphasized drawing it back and doing the opposite of these amplifying and confirming gestures if that's not the state you want to be in. So enjoy and play back these videos of the microexpression training tutorial, the action units, referring to Chase Hughes' behavioral table of elements. If you're not aware, he was on the February 25 Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan records his numerically as in the Chase Hughes podcast is just under 3 hours, and it's number 2278. They don't talk about his behavioral table of elements, but they do go into a lot of other things regarding psychological operations and hypnotism that might be of interest to you. If this is of interest, if you followed along this far already.